Hello, hello. It is your Astro Coach Sarah here for Wellness Astrology. This time for the moon in Pisces. This is March 26th through the 28th. And this is a darkening moon, a balsamic moon phase, meaning we're getting close to that new moon solar eclipse in Aries that's going to be over the weekend. But this darkening moon in Pisces is going to run into Saturn, the North Node. And of course, right at the end, right before the more overnight hours of the 28th, I believe, um, the North Node, or excuse me, the moon will conjunct Neptune with Venus as Venus retrogrades back into Pisces and Mercury is right behind her. And so they've got this, Mercury Venus retrograde. They're kind of holding hands, as we say, conjunct, moving back from Aries back into Pisces. So that's why this Aries, Pisces, Pisces to Aries, end of the zodiac, beginning of the zodiac is so damn significant. Why this feels like a paradigm shift, why this feels like such a potent shift in energy. It's because we've got a lot of things dancing around 29, actually, we'll even go as far as to say like 24, 25, 26 Pisces to about 9, 10 degrees of Aries. So we're covering that 0 degree Aries point quite a bit. And if you remember back in January, we had the nodes cross the zero Aries, the North Node cross the zero Aries point in early January. So this whole ending beginnings thing is very significant. This is really an opportunity to like stop a part of you that you're just tired of. Like if you're sick of being in suffering, if you're sick of being the complainer, if you're sick of all of these things, like face that dark shit about you that you don't like and shift it, change it, become something different, find some gratitude, find some reason to appreciate the fact that you're here for this, right? This Neptune moving into Aries, the ingress happens over the weekend. That hasn't happened in 160 something years, like 165. It was like the late 1850s, the last time we saw this. And yeah, that was the onset of the Civil War in the United States, but it was also like a change in the times, right? And guaranteed that most of these wars, yes, they are in our history books, because we talk about World War II a lot because we have that Uranus and Gemini coming up. We've talked about the United States Revolution and the French Civil War. Was it the French Civil War, the French Revolution? I can't remember. In the 17th, the late latter part of the 18th, 19th, 18th century. Goodness, I'll get it right. 1776 to like the early 1800s, we had the United States Revolution, we had the French Civil War, we had all these wars, but like that wasn't everybody, right? Not everybody was a part of the United States Civil War. There was other stuff going on too. Other people were living their lives, just like how this is playing out right now. Are we already in a war? Sure. Aries is the god of war, and we've had a lot of war type activity since those nodes were in Aries Libra last year, right? We've had particularly a lot of war with like the Middle East, and of course the Ukraine-Russia situation. North and South Korea have been at odds. And we've had things going on with the European Union. Again, I don't know a lot about foreign things, foreign affairs, international affairs. I'm not like that person. Um, and, but I mean, I know enough to be aware that these things are happening, right? But here's the thing, they don't have to affect you. They don't have to be a part of who you are, what you're up to. Sure, keep yourself aware of things that are happening and continue to live your life, right? Pick your battles if you even need to have any battles. I'm kind of like going towards, I don't want to be at battle with anybody, right? I don't want to be at odds, although, people don't like me and I understand that, and people don't like the work I do and I understand and respect that, but I don't have to be at battle with them, right? I don't have to be a part, I don't have to fight in that fight, right? I even have members of my family that I could be fighting with. I choose not to. Why? Because I have zero to prove to anybody except myself who I am, my integrity, my ability, just my loyalty to myself. And I'm somebody that like if I'm on your side, I'm loyal to a fault until you fuck with me, and then I'm probably like disloyal to a fault. It does take me quite some time to like forgive. Um, and I think that could be true and said for all of us. But as we move through this Pisces moon over the next couple of days, this is what Wednesday through Friday. So it's Wednesday is Miércoles, which is a Mercury day. Thursday is it Jueves, which is Jupiter day. Friday is Viernes, which is Venus day. And this Venus day comes with the Venus conjunct the moon, conjunct Neptune at 29 Pisces. Like, what? That is insane creative energy. It could also mean vivid dreams. It could also mean confusion around money and relationships. It could also mean Venus and Neptune. Venus is exalted in Pisces, so she's moving back into Pisces for a hot minute. Like, that's kind of a beautiful thing. Um, for creativity, and we have Neptune about to move into Aries this weekend, like the being the being your own stand for your creativity, right? I'm currently in a book club. It's a coaching book club. But the name of the book is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And I've read the book before. It's been many years since I've read it, but I read it before. And it really is an invitation to like, the first call happened. I'm recording this on a week prior to it airing. But we had the first call like last week, and like we were talking about creativity and all of those things. And with Pluto and Aquarius opposite Leo, the courage to be your individual, unique self. And then we have Neptune coming into Aries, like the warrior in you that can create having the courage to create the things that you want to create in whatever way that looks like for you. And that doesn't mean that you have to be like, Vincent van Gogh. If y'all know, I use Vincent van Gogh's chart frequently. Um, but it doesn't mean you have to be an artist. You don't have to be Picasso. You don't have to be Van Gogh. You don't have to be Beethoven or Mozart, but you can create the things you want to create, right? I know several folks who create music for the fun of creating music, right? They create they're even if they're a content creator, they create their content for the sake of creating content, right? There's just that fun of it. Some of us draw, some of us paint, some of us do puzzles for the fun of creating, not for anybody to see it, not for anybody to have any sort of appreciation. Like it doesn't even matter. Most people will never see it, right? Many of us journal for the sake of writing, right? It's the same thing. Now, it's your choice whether people will see it or not. I have been diligently working on my book that is a spiritual guidebook that may or may not be a bundle when it's all said and done. I kind of think it's going to be a bundle. What do y'all think? Tell me in the comments if I wrote a spiritual guidebook, which included all of the things that I talk about on here, from chakras, clairs, oils, crystals. I don't talk about crystals a whole hell of a lot, but tarot, oracle, all of those things. Would it be beneficial if it had like a quick reference guide and a workbook and all of those things? I think it would. I think that would be super fun. I don't know how I would pull that off in audio, but definitely when I release a book, it would definitely come out both in print and in audio. I can't promise the audio would happen with the print, but it would definitely happen. Um, but it's a project that I have been really I was reading a book recently called Building Dreams by Becky Hurley. I highly recommend it. You can get it on audio or Audible. You can also purchase it. I don't know if it's available on the Hearts Unleashed website or not, because I was her publisher. But you might check out heartsunleashed.com, and you can find all of the Hearts Unleashed published books. That will be my chosen publisher. But there are plenty of books there. But I was reading Becky Hurley's book, and it just got me excited to talk about my book. But in order to talk about my book, I kind of need to like write the damn book. So I've been really working on it quite a bit lately. And a lot of that has to do with all of this energy concentrated in Pisces, which for me is my fifth house. Even some of this Aries activity is my fifth house because I use Placidus when I do individual readings, personal readings. So that's something to note. If you're getting my sun and rising sign horoscopes here, it's whole sign based. But if you actually work with me one-to-one, it's Placidus, which gives me a different calculation of how your houses are set up. And I can actually be way more precise in how I, give you your natal chart. So there's that. That's something to consider. And I don't know. I think that's the case with many astrologers that, obviously for sun and rising signs, we have to use whole signs because there's no way of calculating them any other way. But for personal readings, most astrologers use a different calculation of the charts. It's the same layout, but it's just different in how it's calculated, and therefore the houses land differently. So you might have a house that lands like let's just say your third house starts at 15 Aquarius and may go to, we'll say, 20 degrees Pisces, or it may go from 15 Aquarius to 10 degrees of Aries or something like that. So it kind of changes the calculation of the houses, right? So it can position your planets a little bit differently. Anyway, I completely digress here, but the point is that, use this energy to really shift something for yourself. Really use it. Do you want to continue being the pain in the ass? Do you want to continue being the victim? Do you want to continue to be like fighting with everybody around you or whatever? Do you want to continue upholding your dishonest, out of integrity story that you've got people believing? That's a good question for a lot of people out there. Because you've got this opportunity. We're going to have this dance between 24 Pisces and 10 degrees Aries for a while. It's going to be a couple more days here yet before the sun passes 10 degrees of Aries. And then we will have Mercury and Venus go direct, but they're going to go direct in Pisces. So it's going to be a minute before they get back to past 10 degrees of Aries. And then you've got Neptune, which will, I think, make it to 1 degree of Aries. And then Saturn, I think Saturn gets to, well, let's see. Neptune must be 2. Saturn gets to 1 because they don't fully conjunct this year. They exact conjunct in February of 2026. So they don't pass. So Saturn doesn't pass Neptune this year. It happens next year. But you've got Neptune and Saturn, which I've talked about before. They're the opposite ends of the same spectrum because Neptune is limitless and no boundaries and la 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 la, dreamy, creative, fun, blah blah blah. Saturn's like, get to fucking work, right? Get to fucking work, right? Get the job done. Get the things done that need to be done. Saturn's kind of the boss, the authoritative figure in the zodiac. And while Neptune's at home in Pisces, he has no dignity in Aries, but Saturn has no dignity in Pisces, but Saturn is a detriment, at fall in Aries. So he's not as strong because it's, there's that rigidity. He does not like being in Aries because Aries kind of has that let's go. And Saturn's like, wait a second, you didn't cover all the bases first. So you got this kind of wacky balance of energy between Neptune and Saturn because they're opposite ends of the spectrum. Neptune's kind of dreamy and flowy and fun, and Saturn's like, no fun till you eat your Brussels sprouts, So anyway, so as we come into this darkening moon, like this could feel kind of, it could be a little lethargic. It could be a lot fatiguing because you may be releasing some shitty shit, to really invite and step into this new energy of Neptune coming into Aries. So it's kind of a fascinating time. Neptune and Aries, we haven't, no one alive has experienced Neptune and Aries, so you kind of just have to go with the energetic um, characteristics of it. Because, and I'm sure there are plenty of astrologers who can read it a bit better than me, but my thought on it is that Neptune being the creative one and Aries being like the cardinal fire, you've got that fire and water, that fire and ice sort of effect. So hot and cold, right? Which could really mean you know, you tempers could be hot and cold. People could be hot and cold. Um, and then, Saturn might actually be a little bit balancing there with Neptune in Aries. And we'll have Neptune and Saturn in Aries till 2029, 8 or 9. So 3 years, where they'll be in the same zodiac sign. Now, Saturn will certainly pass Neptune very quickly because Saturn has a shorter or transit time. But Neptune will be in Aries until 2035, 8, 2038, I want to say. So we've got, some years to work with Neptune in Aries. But it's kind of a fun time because, we're going to get this new energy. And, I kind of like it because I invested a lot of time into breaking up with my own victimhood. And now I still see people in their victim. They blame this, they blame that. And oh, it was my upbringing. I have this diagnosis and I have that diagnosis. Now, I'm not here to question diagnoses, but have done my fair share of research around my own diagnoses, quote unquote, to, uncover what I needed to uncover for myself. So I won't undiagnose people or question people's diagnosis. But like if I'd have stuck with the whole depression diagnosis that I got in my 20s, y'all, I wouldn't be here. There ain't no fucking way in hell I would be on YouTube right now, doing what I do with astrology. There's no way if I would have just bought into the conditioning or the programming of, well, you're depressed. I did that for many years, for solid 5, 10 years of my life. I bought into, this is depression. This is what depression looks like. I can't get out of bed. I can't move. I can't interact. I can't da 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 da. And I can't tell you how it shifted for me. I mean, all I can tell you is that I started listening to disciplined people like Jocko Willink, like Joe Rogan, like Cameron Haynes, like David Goggins, and um, Andy Frisella. I just started listening to these guys on repeat, and their words just kept getting into my head. And then I was suddenly able to get up and go to judo and get up and go do triathlon practice and get up and go do this and get up and go do that. And any other time I was in bed. So it was slow going, you know, but it took a lot of work and choice on my part to be like, I don't want to be in this state where I can't get out of bed and I can't function. I can't take care of my house. I can't take care of me, and all of those things. I just started taking care of me. The house came along after the fact. So anyway, again, not here to question anybody's diagnosis, but people do, just like with astrology, oh, I have a Scorpio moon. I can't function. I have a Scorpio moon. So you know um people who are Virgo rising, I can't help it, I'm a Virgo rising. Actually, yes, you can, because that's the whole point of astrology, is to not use astrology as your victim crutch, but it is to embrace how you were created and and embody the energy of that. Yes, I am a Scorpio moon, and it's a difficult Scorpio moon sometimes. And I've learned how to use it um, to support me right? I'm an Aquarius sun. I don't have a lot of, I got a lot of fallen detriment planets in my chart. Um, but think about it. Had I not done the work, do you think that I would be on YouTube every other day, talking to you about healing work, talking to you about crystals and tarot and oracle and essential oils and practices of chakras and things like that? Do you think that if I would have let my chart could have taken me out, and it did for many years? So you get to choose how this goes. Now, the question to ask yourself is, are you who you want to be? Or are you just the whiny brat, petty tyrant, suffering, complaining, bitching, moaning, whining, pain in the ass that nobody wants to be around? Now, there's a lot of people who don't want to be around me, but that's completely different. A lot of people don't want to be around me because I trigger them because I am so energetic and upbeat. And that's not my problem. That's not my problem. But I do trigger a lot of people because of the work that I have done. Um, and so that's completely different. There are lots of people who actually love the fact that I tell my story about having been, depressed and in bed and, whatever, whatever. And now, here I am on YouTube, right? And I keep looking at my yellow jacket like, I don't like the color yellow. It's not my favorite, but I also really like the combo. Um, but anywho, so I'm rambling on and on and on here, but all of this to say, like, this is a really good time to make some really, really, really big changes in your life. Big changes, big changes. And the question is, are you gonna, or are you gonna let this pass you by and look back a year from now and be like, damn, I'm still the complaining one. I'm still the ungrateful one. I'm still the entitled one. I'm still the, whatever, you know? So, anywho, let's get some tarot on the subject. Um, do I like this Pisces moon? Yes and no. I think it's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to really hit people pretty hard. But at the same time, I think it's also a balsamic darkening moon. So it's not going to be the easiest moon, it being a water moon. And it's going into an eclipse new moon. In Aries, we've got Neptune crisscrossing paths with Mercury retrograding back into Pisces and Neptune moving into Aries. We'll see what that brings. Again, nobody alive knows what Aries, Neptune and Aries looks like. So all we can do is go with the energy signatures of of Neptune and of Aries. So I do think it could be a lot of false starts. So, I would say don't get your hopes up that like, something's going to fully succeed this year. It doesn't mean that it won't. It means that it could be false starts. It could be a lot of things look really pretty and then all of a sudden, whoopsie, so let's get the magnifier going. All right, we got strength in reverse. This is Lieutenant Worf. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the sun keeps peeking in and out. That's because I have my curtain open. That's why my lighting keeps changing. Worf, strength in reverse. Yeah, I think people are feeling pretty weak, and I feel like this is, this whole Neptune ingress into Aries with this Aries eclipse, but this darkening moon's probably got people really wiped out. It's probably, got you feeling some kind of ways. There's a lot of release. There's a lot of grief. There's a lot of, we're coming through the eclipse portal, which doesn't end technically until the Libra full moon later on this month, or later on in April. But so I think people are feeling kind of weak, and I think it's also a good opportunity to really rest and take advantage of, that lethargy or that fatigue or that whatever. I mean, God only knows what the Schumann's going to be doing this weekend with that solar eclipse happening. So, take the time to rest. I know that I have taken advantage of a lot of rest time over the last several months and have come out of it like 9 million times better. And then we got, oh, um, the Queen of Latinum in reverse. Well, this is just screams like financial manipulation. This could have a lot to do with, I mean, we're heading into a lot of money issues with Venus in retrograde, and we're months away from that Uranus ingress into Gemini, which is for sure going to do something with our financial systems. Um, so I feel like people could feel really weak. We don't know what, I mean, again, I'm recording this pretty far out, but I would say with these two, Strength in reverse, Queen of Latinum in reverse, resources. People are feeling like they're not prepared. Again, people have been talking about being prepared since 2020, and I'm sure many since before that. But like, again, I've talked about like being resourceful and being prepared with your resources and having people in your corner, having your egg lady and your chicken lady and your butcher shop where you can get your meat and stuff like that, and having like your crop people, somebody who has a garden or fields where you can get your produce type foods and things like that, because we don't know what this is going to look like heading into with with what Trump is doing, with tariffs and supply chains and things like that. We don't know what's going to happen here, and since we don't know, the best way to deal with it is to be prepared. Have your egg people, have your chicken people, have your butchers for your beef and your pork and things like that. I think I've mentioned that 3 times this week now. So but this is like making sure like that Queen of Latinum in reverse. It's like, oh shit, like I don't have all of my resources, right? I don't have the things to nurture my body or my system, or I don't have those things. And so this is like a really good time to really prepare yourself with resources or resourceful people in your corner to make sure you're taken care of, right? It's partly why I like the community where I live, because several of my um, family members do have resources to or access to gardens and meat and stuff like that. So, one thing I have been really taking advantage of since I have been living here is venison. It's ground venison, it's like ground game meat. But my food pantry gets it and I take it every time. And man, does that make a damn good chili. So, speaking of which, like I made a comment about beef liver, and I can't believe that lit up my comments. Like 2 people commented how much they like beef liver. I've been wanting to try it for a long time. I just actually don't know how to prepare it. So I need to watch some YouTube to figure out how to prepare beef liver, but I want to try it. Most members of my family don't like it, so it's something that I have to pursue on my own. All right, let's see what's up with the ancestors and angels. Um, Ooh, we got the Oracle. Wait for important information. Yeah, patience. Again, false starts. So you don't have all the information. With Mercury this weekend is heading back into Pisces where he is at fall. And so, this is like, and with Venus going back, retrograding back into Pisces. Yes, Venus is exalted in Pisces, but she's still retrograde. Not a good time to sign contracts, not a good time to, make a huge like investment, like I keep like contracts, like how buying a house or like buying a business or something like that, like any kind of contractual thing. You don't have all the information. You probably want to wait until like there's clarity in the energy, um, or at least like hold on for a second because something may be about to change that, whatever. Or there may be a better opportunity down the line a little bit. So hang on. This may not be the best time to make significant life changing choices. Yes, your mentality and your how you pursue things. But what I'm saying is like literal contracts and literal exchanges of money may not be, you know what I'm saying? Like this is mindset stuff, this is emotional, mental stuff, but maybe not necessarily like literal life-changing actions is what I'm saying. And so, but yeah, definitely make those habit changes, those like mental changes, mindset changes, emotional changes, those sorts of things, and grieve all of that. That's what I'm saying about taking advantage of the energy. What I'm not saying is like don't, I'm not saying don't sign contracts, but I'm just saying like this may not be the best time because you may not have all the information, or you didn't read the backside in the tiny print that says you're liable for, responsible for da 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 kind of thing. So anyway, all right. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you. I'm sorry this was a long video, but there is a lot that needs to be said. And also check the link below for your sun and rising signs for the Aries solar eclipse and the Libra full moon for Aries season. But of course, you can also work with me if you want a more accurate reading for your personal chart. So thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.